All right. Should be any second now. All right. We are live. Sorry, adjusting with my lighting. There we go. Let it build up. Give it a minute to build up. But how you guys doing before we get into things?
Certainly doing.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Not much time to talk about it. I really want to just kind of use this opportunity to give a venue to our members and our supporters to kind of voice, to talk with each other about what all is going on, because I'm sure that there is a whole shitload of confusion, and it's just everything is in chaos right now. So I guess what we can do to start is kind of just start from the top of what all is going on today. And wow, we're at 160 people already. So start from the top of what the hell all is going on already, and go from there. So several things happening at once right now. Joe Bishop Henchman has tendered his resignation. I am told, I was talking to Josh Smith earlier, I am told that resignation is official now, that because he had said he was resigning pending the result of the motion to disaffiliate, or pending the results of the motion to disaffiliate New Hampshire, which is now in. So he is no longer the chair, which means Ken Molman is now the acting chair. So he has resigned. The Libertarian Pragmatist Caucus has officially dissolved the entire caucus. The Region 8 representative, this was yesterday or 2 days ago now, but resigned, who was a loser brigadier. And but the big thing is the LNC in retaliation is now coming after Karen Ann Harlos and trying to remove her as the secretary in retaliation. And what I mean by retaliation is the only reason anybody has any information of what happened in New Hampshire and who was responsible for what. We still don't know who the mystery co-conspirator is, but the only reason that we know that Henchman knew what that letter was going to be used for is because of the interviews that Karen Ann did with Gilletta Jarvis, the rogue chair of New Hampshire, and did the interviews with the New Hampshire crew themselves. So yeah, like it seems to me that she put forward the information that led to Henchman's resignation, and now the rest of the LNC is going after her in retaliation and getting her out of her secretary seat. And I'll tell you what, if they're successful in doing that, which Karen Ann thinks that they're going to be able to, Josh is probably going to be next. They are probably going to, like, for all the accusations of purges from the Mises Caucus, which we have never once advocated, they are going to purge anybody that is not an establishment hack from the top of the LNC. I'll let you guys talk. I kind of want to look at the comments and give some people some voice here, but you guys bounce off that.
I'm monitoring the chats on YouTube and here, so if you guys do ask questions or anything, we can read them off. But so if you read the email list, the LNC list, you could tell a couple of days ago that folks were starting to position themselves to use this as an excuse. Decorum that they all agreed upon was starting to be thrown around. The fact that Karen Ann monetizes her YouTube channel was a problem. So I'm not surprised by this, Mike. You know, I think I said this to you yesterday, that reading this list, it was 2 days ago.
I'm going to answer this
list.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Karen Ann.
I'm sorry to cut you off and wait to keep going, but I want to answer this question. If Karen Ann is booted, can't she just be voted back in later? Absolutely yes. And I was on the phone with Karen Ann earlier, and I asked her if there's any precedent where somebody or an officer is removed from the LNC and then at the next convention voted back in. And she said that there is no precedent for that. That's never happened. So we're going to be the ones to do that in the event that she is booted. But Angela, what do you make of all of this? Because the thing, I got to tell you, the thing that I'm most miffed by, the thing that I don't understand the most out of all of this is why the hell would the Prags dissolve? Why would they dissolve the whole thing?
Well, it seems like a scorched earth tactic, and I would be mindful of them flooding other caucuses. The things that don't add up are why they're trying to remove Karen Ann Harlos, but also dissolving themselves. So something's not adding up. Which is why I'm telling everyone, be really cautious before you start celebrating, because we're still missing a couple major pieces here. It
Yeah.
doesn't all make sense.
And
I feel the
Fina,
same way.
we absolutely did support Ken, and we do support Ken. So what's going to happen with him is he is now acting chair until they fill the vacancy. Now, they may fill that vacancy with Ken, but they could fill that vacancy with anybody that they nominate who accepts that nomination.
Yeah.
And I believe that's just a majority vote. I could be wrong on that. But Ken is one of the people that's one of the things I don't understand. It wasn't just Karen Ann Harlos that did these interviews. Ken was a part of it. Steve Nikala was a part of it. Eric Rodset was a part of it. And I don't see any of these slings and arrows going their way, just Karen Ann Harlos. And if they're really going to boot her on the grounds of decorum in the email thread, then everybody's got to go. John Phillips has got to go, which, by the way, I am fucking done with John Phillips. He just deferred his vote to his alternate on this, who he knew was going to vote to boot Karen Ann. And I even texted John personally to beg him not to do that. So if decorum is the precedent, everybody's got to go except for like Whitney, Steve Nikala, and a few others. It's an absolutely ridiculous precedent, and you don't boot somebody for decorum, even if you do want to hit them for it. You hit them with a censure.
Yeah, so I just talked with Karen Ann Harlos a couple weeks ago about this problem with these policies that are intended to guide your behavior, or say what I guess guide your behavior. Things like decorum, things like behavior guidelines. There's some really good ideas behind it, like we want to treat each other civilly, but she cautioned that they could get weaponized, and this is exactly what we're seeing it do. I really like the idea that we would have I wouldn't call them part of the bylaws, but like a code of conduct, like general guidelines. But when you see it used in this manner, it shows you that maybe it's not such a great idea. So please proceed with caution. Let this be a learning lesson for your affiliate. You don't want to be making a precedent for people to get tossed out because one person's arbitrarily screaming. And I think Karen Ann Harlos is taking the blunt of this because she's the loudest, she's the most outspoken, and she's really vocal, and she gets upset easily, and she wears her heart on her sleeve. I get it. But there were, like Mike said, there were so many other people who violated decorum. I feel like they're just going to make an example out of her. It's like the Wrath of Khan, like from hell's heart, I stab at thee. They're literally just like, we're going out and we're going to take everyone else out with us that we possibly can.
Yeah. So what do you make of this whole thing? So much has happened so fast. So like, again, we've got over 400 people now. So let's run through it again. Just today, Joe Bishop Henchman, the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, resigned. In his resignation letter, was actually half right. Like what's kind of funny is he was actually half right. He's right. The party doesn't have standards. The party does allow toxic actors to do whatever they want. It's just he's calling the people who are growing the party the toxic actors. And basically, as one of the commenters said, he's resigning because it's not easy enough to purge people from the party, meaning he wants to purge the Mises Caucus, who on an email, he has called us evil at this point. The chair of the party has called us evil while pretending to be about unity.
Destroyers.
Yeah, and destroyers. And destroyers. And you know what? We are destroyers of the old paradigm of the party. Guess what? I don't care anymore. We are destroyers of the old paradigm of the party, the failed paradigm of the party, the party drifting away from being the party of principle and instead turning into the party of politics that does not work and doesn't represent the movement whose name it bears. So that is dead, and that's what this is about. To me, this is the last stand. As much of a last stand as they can make before Reno. All what is going on. But I've already gone off. Joe Bishop Henchman has resigned. So the chair of the party has resigned. Yesterday, 2 days ago, Laura Ebke resigned as the chair of the Pragmatist Caucus. Today, the Pragmatist Caucus has dissolved. It ceased to exist. Yesterday or the day before, the Region 8 chair, Tucker Coburn, total loser brigadier, he resigned. There is now former treasurer of the Mises Caucus, Rich Bowen, who is taking over that seat. And the big thing is them coming after Karen Ann Harlos. So that has all happened today. I know I've said this a couple times already, but there's just an incredible amount of people on the in the stream now. So do you guys agree with me that this is basically the death scream? Is this really the last stand? Go ahead.
I think it is, but I want to wait a couple days to see what happens. I don't want to be premature. We need to see,
I feel like there's some tricks up their sleeves yet. We haven't seen it all. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like there's something else coming.
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black with all of the accusations about purges and takeovers. This last week has been a really wild ride. You know what would make decorum a lot easier to maintain is if people weren't stealing and breaking the bylaws and trying to constantly engage in subterfuge and disaffiliate state parties. I bet decorum would be a lot better if people weren't behaving that way. We elect these people to be our leaders at the national level, and then they go around acting like snakes. And then they get mad because we catch them being snakes, and then they want to toss out someone who was mean in an email. So it's okay to cheat and rob and help someone disenfranchise a state affiliate, but it's not okay to be mean in an email. That's the culture of the LNC right now.
Yeah, just want to answer this this comment here, but there's nothing much they can do about the caucuses per se. We are independent entities. We are basically a free association of members within the party. There's no formal or official association with the party, so it's outside of their purview. There's nothing they can do about it, or the PAC either. Another comment I want to answer is, what is the LPMC doing to back Karen Ann Harless? I'm glad you asked that. Well, the first thing I did was I called Tom Woods and I called Dave Smith and gave them the link to email the entire LNC. We just emailed out. Normally we don't do 2 emails in a day, but we just emailed out our list, the link to contact the LNC, and we are asking everybody to contact their region reps, contact their at-large reps, and demand that this be rescinded. This motion to suspend Karen Ann Harless be rescinded. I can tell you again that I personally reached out to, I texted him, John Phillips on the LNC, and I asked him to please not let his alternate, who he knows is going to vote against Karen Ann, to do it. He did it anyway. And Francis Wendt, who was the Region 1 representative, who was one of the co-sponsors of that motion, I can tell you that he didn't reach out to his chairs in his region. I know at least one chair there that said there was no communication and that she does not support this at all. So these people aren't representing anything but their own biases. This is full-blown anti-Mises growth. It's full-blown anti-party growth. That's essentially what it's crazy. In his resignation letter, Henchman actually said, "Oh, well, it's being turned into the people who are the most well-organized as if that's a bad thing, as if bringing in members, getting them to follow the rules, getting them integrated into the party, getting them to be chairs of their counties, founding new counties, all of this stuff, that's bad." Again, the call to action from Nick was the party is determined by those who show up. And then we showed up, and now they're cheating, and now they're lying, now they're stealing, now they're acting completely desperate.
So I want to backtrack for just a moment to the comment where someone said, do you think this is maybe because caucuses are going to come under target? Daniel Hayes did make a point well taken recently on Adam Kokesh's podcast, where he said that he thought caucuses expressed too much of a conflict of interest with the state party or with the national parties, with politics in general. Now, I don't agree, but if there's going to be an argument against caucuses that could be brought up, that could be one. And I wouldn't be shocked if they go for that. I hate speculating like this, but you might as well just be aware of anything and everything that they could try. So if they try to pass something, that bars caucus affiliation or just to go after the caucus in general, I wouldn't be totally shocked.
But they're guilty of it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Now,
actually, you know what? Maybe that's why Laura. That you could argue that perhaps maybe that's why Laura stepped down as a chair and they dissolved. So they're going to try to take some. You're not allowed to be on the board if you were a member of a caucus. But what's funny about us is we have no official membership. That's what they don't get. There is no you're a dues paying member. Basically you're a member if you're down with us. It's a much looser thing than the whole democratic model that the party and the other caucuses around the party take. And if they try to do that, I think we're going to find very quick allies with the Rads and anybody reasonable. I mean, this shit is so pathetic, dude. Like they don't have the ability to inspire. They don't have the ability to organize. They don't have the ability to recruit. And this is what they're resorting to as a result. It's absolutely pathetic.
It would take out a lot of single issue caucuses too that are only active around convention time. Pro-choice caucus. That's one that some people are really, passionate about. It's not my bag, but that's a thing, There are several other small caucuses like that. So I think it's going to piss off a lot more people than just Mises Caucus.
Yeah, we actually, who would have thought? We have something in common with Antifa. We're just an idea.
There you go.
That's hilarious.
So let's check these YouTube comments real quick. Let's go to right about here. Somebody mentions about adding a whistleblower protection to the national platform, crafting a standard of ethics for the caucus. I'm not sure.
Do we really have to go there? In the Libertarian Party, we need a provision for whistleblowers. We should, maybe we should just we should take back all of our letters, begging for pardons for Snowden and Assange, if we're really at that point. It's embarrassing.
Does Ken Molman, in his capacity as acting chair, now have any authority to deny the motion to expel Karen?
No. And somebody pointed out that right before the resignation went into effect, Joe's last act was to vote on that motion. Scum. Total scum. He was involved in the conspiracy to do the theft of the state party of New Hampshire, and then resigned in disgrace when it was found out that he was involved, and then out of spite on the way out is trying to take Karen Ann with him.
It's really petty. That's not what you want to see in leadership on either side.
So we're going to get a motion to nominate Angela for chair?
That will probably not happen with the current LNC makeup, but we could dream.
So we're going to keep this stream pretty short because there is a Libertarian National Committee meeting happening in about 19 minutes. So we'll probably wrap up here in about 9 minutes. Folks, I don't have the link for that meeting right in front of me. If some of you do, I'd really appreciate it if you could post that link in the chat. But what I'm going to post in the chat right now is the link to the Libertarian National Committee page. And what you can do with that is there is a drop-down menu where you can email anybody or everybody on the LNC. And I am recommending that all of you email the entire LNC right now in support of Karen Ann Harlows. Now, I am obligated to say that you have to be nice and you should be respectful.
Yes.
But and Angela is much more serious about that than I am at this point.
Because your emails backfire. If you're shitty and rude, then your emails can backfire. We're not dealing with necessarily everyone who's our friend, right? We're trying to ask a favor for some people who don't like us, and we have to put pressure on them.
Yep. Yeah, this whole thing has been crazy, and the poor folks in New Hampshire, they can't get a moment's rest.
Yeah. So, that's an interesting thing that was brought up, was whether or not there should be. Not everybody in New Hampshire is really excited about having an internal investigation from the National Committee because they're just so burned out on being abused. Yeah.
Well, the investigation that was being put forward was a sham anyway. It was going to be Tom Arnold, who is okay, Matt Bugman, who is biased, and Paige Sexton, who I'm not going to say is biased, but I would suspect to be biased. I have no proof. I'm purely speculating. But I would suspect that she would be biased, and I don't think anything would come of that. Now, there's really no even point for an investigation anymore because Henchman resigned. There's no reason for him to comply. Tucker Coburn, who Joletta Jarvis was in contact with, as she admitted, before she did this whole thing, he resigned. So there's no point for him to comply. The only people that are left are Jarvis and the crew in New Hampshire, and we've already got the information that we're going to get out of them. So whoever the mystery co-conspirator is, and I don't think it was somebody who was voted for treasurer in 2021 in New Hampshire. It couldn't have been that person. But
I don't think he's that dumb, but I wouldn't be surprised if he knew all about this, just not the one pushing it forward.
Yeah. But so whoever that was, chances are we're not going to know, and that's what they wanted. To kind of circle back on the Prags devolving, in our XCOM chat, the best thing that we could come up with is basically it's like a Hamas maneuver, like the idea being that now they get to filter into the party, and this is no longer about caucus versus caucus. It's the Mises caucus versus the party. And they can basically claim the party, and try to play that victim card like they always play. But I do think we might be onto something about the action against caucuses. Like, you cannot be a member. Well, no, because that would have to be a bylaws change. That would have to be a bylaws change, which can only happen at convention. So who knows? Who the frig knows?
Well,
There's
yeah,
so
we'll
chaos.
see. We'll see. So people love to weaponize things like operating procedures manuals and all of the boring minutia that probably most of the people in the Mises Caucus don't care about. That's what people who don't like us weaponize against us in the party. So it behooves you to learn Robert's Rules of Order and pay attention to all the stupid things that people try to pull in meetings about operating procedures manuals and consolidating power to the chair and on all of that crap. I know it's boring, but we just got to slug through it this year because we're really close to winning. But we got to pay attention.
Yep, and Kyler, this is our boy in Minnesota. Vast majority of libertarians don't want to split. This is coming from the loser brigade all the way. And absolutely, man, that is something that I have been saying to all of our people recently, is that my read of what's happened here is essentially that you've got the Prags or the uncaucused or the middle or whatever you want to call it. And part of that voting block that has been keeping the party on the trajectory is a group of people who are not good people and not ethical people. Mm-hmm. And the middle has had no reason to really take a look at that because they're voting with them. It's working for them. Nobody has really forced it up to the surface. And why would they rock the boat? Well, I think what's happened here is I don't know why they thought they were going to get away with this whole maneuver in New Hampshire. And I think that was their big bullet, so to speak. That was their big gun that they were going for. And I think it's kind of a Leroy Jenkins movement in how it didn't work. You know what I mean? So like they fired their big bullet too far. Jenkins has left the room. Now the rest of the idiots are left to run into the raid and get destroyed. And that I can tell you that's probably going to happen around the country, because what I'm hearing whispers of here in Pennsylvania is that there's some of the loser brigadiers who are in leadership here are going to say, well, if National doesn't disaffiliate with New Hampshire, then they're embracing bigotry, and I can't have that. So Pennsylvania has to disaffiliate with National. That's what's coming here in my state. And all you guys out there watching, watch out for that happening in your state. And so we're going to have to fight that off. But I think that is a result of the Leroy Jenkins moment. I think that's them flailing for whatever they can get. And it has cost them grievously at the national level. It cost them the entire Prague caucus. It cost them Tucker Coburn. It cost them Joe Henchman. And now, in doing what they did and in seeing how many people were absolutely supportive, or at least just blasé about theft of party resources, theft of an entire state party, of an actual coup, like what they accuse us of, I think that reasonable middle for the first time has seen that mass drop from within their own ranks and go, holy shit. Like this is dark, and they don't know what to do. So I think what's going to end up happening is, as they start to do these ridiculous maneuvers, we're already seeing people quit, right? Like Sasha Cohen, socialist jerk in Illinois. He just sent a letter saying, I'm an elected libertarian, and I'm going to do a press release to the 6 people that'll read it, saying that I'm leaving the party. And this is happening all over the place. So I think what's going to happen is the reasonable middle is essentially going to be the husk that is left over, because we ain't going anywhere, and we're winning the exchange here, and that's important. And if it costs us Karen Ann, that fucking sucks, and we're going to do everything we can to make right on that in Reno. You better believe it. But at the end of the day, we are getting the better of the exchange, and they know it. So we have to deal with these ripple effects in the state. I'm sorry, I feel like I just went on a huge rant.
No, it was a good rant.
You're on fire. Yeah, I can't say anything. I just want to listen to you talk.
If you have not gotten delegate status yet, if you haven't done the things to get delegate status, let this be your motivation.
Unfortunately, you can't click that.
What you can do, takehumanaction.com.
I'm going to find that link. So we're going to be. What's up?
The link to the Zoom meeting.
Yes.
I'll put it in the chat here.
All right, cool. Yeah, I can't copy paste it. All right, let's look for a couple more comments to. Oh, yeah. This is the kind of class that we're dealing with. Sasha was scum trolling Karen Ann in her stream while she was crying. You know, it's fucked up, man. Karen Ann, we all have a debt of gratitude to Karen Ann. She is an absolute bulldog up there. She's the only person who is concerned with keeping that body honest.
Yep.
Well, I shouldn't say the only one. Obviously, Josh is up there too, and I don't mean to discount him. But Karen Ann,
most outspoken.
Not only just the most outspoken, but she is just so, her knowledge of the rules, her knowledge of Roberts, her knowledge of the bylaws, man, she is just an absolute monster up there, and that's why they're doing this. Because now they're gonna have more or less free reign to do what they want, and who knows what that's going to be between now and Reno. So,
I don't know. I worry that there's a lot of projection that's happened over the last couple of years. So it's talking about, oh, we're the destroyers. We want to take over and ruin everything. And at this point, I'm wondering, like, do they just want to burn everything down?
That's what they've said. I mean, what they're saying is that the prime motivation of the party needs to be to denounce bigotry, as if that's the friggin' problem in society right now. It is so absurd. It is so cathedral. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like this, and this is the reason I put this comment up. My county LP is very Meacock unfriendly and have to pretend. People don't realize, man, this is what our people have to deal with all over the country. Like, it's ridiculous. The Ron Paul movement is persecuted in every party it goes to. It's absolutely absurd.
It's the statement of principles is we challenge the cult of the omnipotent state, not how many petitions did I sign to denounce whatever we're denouncing this week. It's the Libertarian Party. It's not the woke party. I'm not sure why we've strayed so far from what we're supposed to be doing, but we need to get back.
Is it a coincidence? It's exactly what the CIA is doing right now.
It's a frightening coincidence if it is.
Well, we've got about 8 minutes before the beginning of the LNC meeting, and I want to try to get a spot in that Zoom. Yeah. So we're gonna cut it off here. But endorse and back Karen Ann Harless 2022. You bet your ass off. And if you didn't know, most of our slate has already announced. Shane Hazel running for Region 2. Miguel Duque in Washington running for Region 1. Angela, obviously you're running for a chair. We've got Todd Hagopian running for treasurer. We've got who's the secretary? I forget. Oh, what? Well, no, it's going to be Karen Ann. So Karen I guess, Karen Ann for secretary. Dave Benner has announced for Region 2 alternate. I'll post the whole thing in the group. We'll be putting out the whole slate shortly. Within the week, almost if not the entire slate will be announced. So we are doing something about this. We are putting our emails out. We are getting our troops rounded up. We are organizing our delegates. We are announcing our slate. We are coming in Reno. We are 40%. Our numbers have quadrupled since then, and there's nothing they can do to stop us. This is all theater. This is all pathetic posturing and trying to burn the shit on the way out. So don't be discouraged and get more of your movement friends in the party, and let's take this motherfucker over. I'll see you guys in the LNC meeting.
See you, everybody.